Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, here on September 11th, 2014. Fans, welcome. I am Chris Dice. On Twitter, you can follow me at iStill1. This is the first, well, let's just say, mobile episode of What's Your Deal with Chris Dice. And I want to say, before we even get started, those that, the tragedy that happened on September 11th, America does not forget. We pray and we hope, all the families that were devastated by that tragic accident, and all ones the accident by that terrorist incident that happened, we stand united. This is why we are still able to do what we're doing tonight, what we do every day, living our lives. We remember and we do not forget. I just want to get that off my chest. Welcome, like I said, everyone. This is the first mobile episode of What's Your Deal with Chris Dice, brought to you by the D2 Entertainment. You can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/the letter D, 2 Entertainment for all your wrestling needs. We got matches from AWT, AWC, EWC, and all sorts of fun stuff where you can also find this if you're not able to listen to the call live. You can also call in if you do come in tonight, 724-444-7444. Make sure you use the call ID 135265. That'll get you straight in where you can come ask some questions to my guest at this time, former AIWF Mid-Atlantic Cruiserweight Champion, CZW talent, Phil Stamper. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Well, it's been a chaotic last 72 hours, but you know how life goes. I want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule, because I know you've got so much going on in your life with AIWF, CZW. I know you've got, oh crap, his name literally just skipped my head. Holy crap. Oh, you just signed a great acquisition here not too long ago with CZW, am I correct?
Caleb Conley.
Yes, I don't know. And I was just watching some of his stuff, great talent, and I cannot believe it just skipped my head. Caleb, I apologize. If you ever see me in person, please slap me upside the head. You have my
Please
permission.
do. He deserves it. He deserves it a lot.
Now, so for people that don't know, who have been living under a rock in a cave on dialysis, wait, no, that was one individual, and I think we got him. I'm not sure. Oh, yes, I'm going to go there this time. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I mean, I know you've done a lot of acting. I mean, you've been, in a lot of stage performances, in-ring performances. You've done a little bit of everything. Is that correct?
That is true. The best way to put yourself out there is to, put yourself out there. So, active in-ring competitor, AIWF Mid-Atlantic, in the biz in Virginia. And then, of course, a lot of people know me either as Phil Stamper or as Nate Stein at Combat Zone Wrestling, which has events more than monthly. Literally from now until our biggest event of the year, Cage of Death, we have events almost every 2 to 3 weeks. Really every 2, if you even think of some of our regular student shows that we're running, all the way through the end of November. So things at Combat Zone stay pretty hectic. And if you watch our events, you know that we come at you from all sides and provide a lot of different styles of wrestling. So we always have to be prepared for what's coming next.
And I know you guys just came off, you said every couple of weeks, you guys just came off of the Dojo Wars. Was it last night?
Yep. Every other week we have CZW Dojo Wars. Dojo Wars is an opportunity for the students of the CZW Academy to be on a live event. It's $5 for 5 matches. Sometimes there are bonus matches, and it gives an opportunity for the students to be able to work with other talent who are more established in CZW, or even matches between the students themselves to get that opportunity for exposure.
It's pretty much getting them prepared kind of for the live audience. Is that right?
Absolutely, and it's in front of a live audience. I mean, it's a Wednesday night at 8 o'clock at night for $5. It's a great deal.
And up in northeast, northeast part of the United States, and Pennsylvania, where you guys are from, that's $5 doesn't go. You could barely get, I think, a pack of cigarettes up in that area for $5. So I mean, 5 matches, $5 with the training that comes from the CZW Academy, the stars that are already there that they're working with. You can't beat that anywhere.
Right. I mean, with at CZW, you have guys who are already internationally renowned. I mean, you have Drew Gulak, who's a regular trainer, DJ Hyde, who's a regular trainer. Homicide was there on Tuesday night helping to train. So you never know really who's going to come in, who you're going to be able to learn from, because there's so much talent at CZW who are now offering their expertise to the students of the academy.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Homicide, former TNA star, Ring of Honor star, someone that has been around globally, just like DJ Hyde too.
Right, and not too former TNA, because he was just on TNA last week.
Oh, let's see. I don't watch TNA. I couldn't watching TNA. It's just.
Right.
That's the only thing I can say.
I think I feel bad. I really want TNA to be better than it is, and that's not to say anything about the guys. I think a lot of the talent on TNA is great. It's just I feel that the product, the way it's put together, it needs to be different. And I think if it was profiled different, that they wouldn't be in the situation that they are in now, where they're going to lose their national television.
It's mismanagement. I think that was the downfall of WCW, mismanagement. In the back, it's not the boys' fault. It's the people that are controlling the boys. That's another episode for another time where I go on a complete and utter rant and probably get thrown off this area. Now, I know you've got AIWF Mid-Atlantic coming up. Is it next Saturday?
Correct, on September 20th.
And is that in Mount Airy, North Carolina?
Yes, it is, at the National Guard Armory at 185 Patrol Station Road in Mount Airy, North Carolina.
Now, I've wrestled in that building numerous times. I was actually there, and Phil, you don't understand how much I lost on you, and I still stand by my saying that night with the shirt, and Phil we trust. Crazy 8 tournament last year. If you missed that, go to AIWFWrestling.net, see if you can find the download or actually get the DVD of 8 guys one night, with Sanjay Dutt versus Justin Flash also on that card. Just a tremendous amount of talent that night. I was there calling the action along Scott Island. That building has, I don't want to say an aura around it, but when you put wrestling in that building, something magical always happens, whether it be the deal with Steel that just happened not too long ago, where, from what I heard, you didn't do too well.
I did great in War Games. One of my partners, Stephen Niles. Stephen Hayes did great. Stephen Niles not do so great. So on the 20th, there'll be a little bit of a conversation that needs to take place with Mr. Niles.
Maybe a slap upside the head?
There are ways to establish who is in charge and who needs to learn a lesson. And I think Mr. Niles has some education that he needs to be given.
Possibly learn the pecking order of the trust. Am I correct on that?
I would say he's lower than a floor mat right now when it comes to the pecking order.
Ooh, poor Niles. Now, you have been wrestling with AIWF Mid-Atlantic for about, I can't remember. I apologize, fans. I have been, and I apologize to you, Phil. It has been literally last week or two. It's been a little chaotic for me, but you've been with AIWF Mid-Atlantic for a little while now, am I correct?
Actually, not too long. It's only been a little over 2 years.
Well, on the indie scene, 2 years is a long time. You should know that.
That's true too. That is true too. At the same time, it hasn't felt like it. I have moments of great joy with AIWF. I may be disgusted with some people, but at the same time, I like when I have the opportunity to go down there.
I mean, it's a good area. Like I said, fans, if you're in the Mount Airy, North Carolina area, you need to go check them out. And you also need to go on AIWFWrestling.net to check them out. These guys are global. They have affiliates all over. So even if you don't live in the North Carolina area, you can look in South Carolina. They've got C4W. In Eastern Tennessee, former company I worked with, EWC Mid-Atlantic. You go further west Tennessee, you've got TIWF, and the towns and areas just get bigger and they keep growing. A lot of great talent comes through these all the time. I mean, just you need to go on awfwrestling.net and check them out. And I guarantee the people that know me are going to be very surprised. And I'm actually pushing the AIWF, considering the issues that I had with with the company that I worked with through the AIWF. But that's, like I said, another time. Because this is all about Phil tonight. This is all about you, man.
Oh, bring it! I'm ready. Let's go.
Well, I mean, my biggest question, because I've been an in-ring performer for about 15 years now, done a lot of backstage work for the last 7. You, if I'm not mistaken, have done the same. A lot of in-ring work and a lot of backstage stuff. We've both done pay-per-views. I've done pay-per-view to tape. You've done live pay-per-views. What's one of the biggest differences when you're on these live events like AWF, Rockstar, and all these other shows compared to a live pay-per-view? I mean, is the atmosphere different? Is it hard to stay on time, like with the cues, or you just kind of go and hope for the best?
Well, it always varies event to event, not even event to event, but like promotion to promotion to exactly how they want to run. How CZW runs is very different than AIW, is very different than In the Biz, is very different than GXW, is very different than Horizon. Everybody sort of has their own particular flavor. And so some places, like CZW, when they have a live event, like when we go to Dayton, we know we're not going to be able to stream it online, but we're going to have it available for video on demand later. But we don't cut it differently than we would if we were on live pay-per-view. But we have a lot of things more structured than some other companies would. It's not as timed perfect as like a WWE would be. I will say I had the opportunity to work with World Extreme Wrestling, Alpha's promotion, when he was still in Allentown, Pennsylvania, and they did live television.
Wow.
And that was a whole new world for me. I mean, it was the first time I had done wrestling television, and it was very much like, this is the time we keep, and this is the person who's talking in your ear, and this is what you need to be doing. Like, it was very formatted. At the same time, you got into that rhythm, you got into that pattern, and once you got used to it, it's like, oh, this is the habit. This is how you get into it. And there always is a different energy if you know that more than just the people in the audience are watching it in that moment. I'll be honest, like there are some events where I've been on commentary before, and I've hated every minute of it because it's like, one person is going to buy this DVD and never hear what we're talking about right now. And it's like, this just isn't exciting. Like, I can pump it up, I can make it as great as a moment as I can, but in the back of my brain, I'm like, man, that one person who's going to buy this is going to love this match. And that's not saying, again, it's not saying anything bad about the people who might be in that match. It's just how they market themselves. Whereas you have a CZW that, I mean, we're getting hundreds of iPay-per-view buys in an event. Like Cage of Death, which by far is CZW's largest event of the year. I mean, in the arena is drawing over 1,000 people, and then we're getting almost that many number of iPay-per-view buys. So, just know that there's just so many more people who are watching it and are going to watch it later. So there's always a different energy, and CZW is a place that has an energy where, I mean, if the crowd likes it, they're going to let you know. If they don't like it, they're going to let you know.
Yeah.
And at AIWF, I look at them, and specifically AIWF Mid-Atlantic. That is the only AIWF affiliate I've worked with. And when I go there, it's a different atmosphere. It's a crowd that wants to be fed. It's a crowd that is starving for the attention that you also give them, and make them feel like this isn't just something they're coming there and spectating and watching. They want to feel like they're part of the event. They want to have that opportunity to boo and cheer and to rally on the hero and boo the bad guy. And I enjoy that. I get something off of that
it helps feed me and makes me more energized by being in the ring.
It's kind of the whole atmosphere, and I've said this to a lot of greenhorns. When I say greenhorns, I mean 10 years and under that haven't done a whole lot of work in the ring. When they see, they're watching, a lot of the, some CZW, Ring of Honor, Chikara, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, and they're trying to go out there and literally go boom, 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 and they're just flying through these matches, and they're not getting a reaction.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going, well, they got a huge, the crowd went crazy with it. Well, here's the thing. You're in the South. The South likes to be told a story. Up north, they like the wow factor to an extent.
Now I'm gonna back off that, because I think a crowd, no matter where you're at, they want a good story. They want something they can sink their teeth into, because there are crowds that it can be a picture-perfect match, and they'll ooh and they'll offer the big, amazing moment, but at the same time, if you don't give them something to get that emotional reaction off of, then you might as well be a piece of toast walking out into the ring.
Yeah. Okay, I'll agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean,
so,
like
I'll be honest. Oh, but I'm sorry.
I was going to say, like with the AIWF crowds, they are thirsty, like you said, for that interaction. You got that old lady that's sitting there, that wants you to yell at them, because it's hilarious to watch the old lady get mad, want to throw a walker at her, because the 5 people around her are going to get behind her and start yelling at you too.
Right. Or the old lady who crawls through the barricade and swings a trash can lid, because that happened at AIWF.
With AIWF, that does not surprise me. Like I said,
I couldn't believe it. When that happened, I'm beating up this little kid named Bobby Yella.
God, gotta love Bobby Yella.
It's me, Jimmy Jannetty, and Rick Diesel beating the crap out of this kid. Here comes this older lady through the barricade, because they were horizontal bars, so she squeezed in between them, grabbed this trash can lid, and was just getting ready to come at us. The only bad part is then she tried to throw the trash can lid, and it hit Bobby Yella in the head.
Oh, and I guarantee you that never saw the light of the TV time. I guarantee it.
Oh, no, it did.
Oh, it did?
It completely made television for AIWF.
Wow. Oh, you want to talk about something really funny when you said Rick Diesel? I've seen the tape of Chains. I don't know if you know who that is.
I don't think I do.
Okay. By your side. He's from the Northeast Tennessee area with Don Carson. There was known as Tennessee Violent Authority, TVA. I had a lot of big issues with Chains and EWC. He had a dollar bill. Did you see the dollar bill that got stapled to my head?
I think so, at one point.
Yeah, 2 staples. Dollar bill stayed in for about 25 minutes. Yeah, great incident, let me tell you. I think they had more fun pulling the staples out of my head. But anyway, they had this on film. It actually made a flashback. It had to be a flashback episode where Chains set Rick Diesel's groin on fire. Well, yeah. When you said Rick, that just popped into my head. Literally, like you see lighter fluid on the crotch and poof.
and that's AIWF is one of those places that it's like they also have a variety of different styles. And I know the history of AIWF, and I know that in the day when as ECW would make their tours, that especially what is now AIWF Mid-Atlantic would bring in like all the old ECW guys. I don't say old, but the guys that were in ECW at that time when they were traveling through the Carolinas, and then were going through hardcore matches at AIWF, and that's what got a lot of notoriety for AIWF was a lot of more of the hardcore and extreme matches. And I mean, I've been in some ridiculous matches before, but it was my first at AIWF. It was my first like no holds barred all weapons match, and had that with Court Montgomery. I've been in now 3 steel cage matches at AIWF. And it's like you never know what to expect. And then again, you have a crowd that's very, I would say it's fairly family friendly, and they love the violence.
Oh, yes. Because you got to think where you're at in that part of the town, Nothing. They understand. Like, you can go around and throw a headlock on something. Okay, yeah, they love it. They're going to react. They understand something getting hit square in the head with something you pick up. They understand that because in the backwoods of that area where moonshine and meth being made, somebody comes, they're going to hit a crowbar and crack somebody in the skull. They understand that.
Okay, I never looked at it in that way, but I can totally see that.
I mean, because, and I heard Chris Hero made a comment because him talk about what Tom Pritchard said, and I actually asked Dr. Tom when he was at one of the shows about people just standing there just taking a punch in the face, and just look stupid. So you try to block. At least make it look believable.
Right.
It's just,
there are particular things in wrestling I hate. I hate when somebody puts on a rear chin lock, because A, nobody puts on a good rear chin lock. Two, if you want to see quality wrestling, you need to provide quality wrestling. If you want good talent, you have to bring in good talent, and sometimes that means a little bit of dough. And I could go on a rant. I really am trying to fight this rant that is building inside of me.
We got 2 hours. Let it go. We got 2 hours. Bring it on.
I will say, in my perspective, there's something different than a new student, a brand new guy who you're trying to break out, who will make some very green mistakes in his technique and how he or she will come off in the ring. That's different than a guy that's just effing lazy. And I have no hair left. I can't pull anything else out of my head. So, but there's times I want to just grab the skin from my scalp and just rip it off, and then be like, I am going to smack you with my scalp, and then I'm going to put you in a fucking, excuse my language, can we cuss? Sorry.
Go ahead. I don't care.
I'm going to put you in a rear chin lock, and it won't be the rear chin lock that you're doing to this guy, because I will choke you out.
That is. Are you off the soapbox now?
Oh, I'm sort of. I'm 1 foot on in case we need to go back.
Okay, it's there in case we do have the soapbox ready, fans, just in case.
Let's not talk about advertisement of wrestling events, because that'll put me on a second soapbox. So,
well, okay, we'll do this instead of bringing it, because I was actually going to bring that up, but we'll refer to you. Your YouTube page, really quick. Is it PS Phenom still? Or
yes, it is. PS Phenom. That's PSPHENOM.
And I will actually, fans, if you're watching this on the stream on my YouTube YouTube/D2 Entertainment, you see it right about now. You'll see the link, or you'll actually see it. Follow Phil on his YouTube page, where you can actually find his rant about street teams promoting and who's responsible for promoting the shows. With everything that you have done, and I say everything that you've done, because in my eyes, you've done a lot. You're somewhere where somebody like myself wants to be when it comes to CZW, able to travel as many towns as you are able to. My brain literally, holy crap. Like I said, it's been I've been up since 4 o'clock this morning, and I still got another 5 hours to go, so yay me.
But that's the thing, I always think no matter where a promotion thinks they're at, you can always do better. And even by just doing simple things. And sometimes I think people, just by being people, I certainly don't believe in the power of an omnipotent workplace. I don't think any promotion, any promoter, any boss is omnipotent. They can't see everything that's happening, nor can they do everything. So a great quote I heard from a promoter and wrestler, Cue Ball Carmichaels, that he one time told me when I worked for him at IPWA in Virginia, was when he had the opportunity to work with Paul Heyman, that Paul Heyman said to him, you know what, a good wrestling promotion needs a core of volunteers. And this was during the height of ECW when Q told me this, and it was that Paul Heyman was still looking for that good core of volunteers. And that's part of it, and part of the who is your street team? Who is putting out the message? And now today with social media, who's retweeting the post? Who's helping to flyer?
who's reaching out to mainstream press and just doing simple little things to try to get people to come out to your event. And it does frustrate me, and not even just on the promoter side, but even on the guys, on us. Like, my social media, those people are following me for a reason. They want to know what I'm doing. Some of them. And they may not be following.
Go ahead. Then you have some that are just stalkers.
Right. Oh God. And always from Tennessee. Anyways, that's a whole other story. But that's just it. Like, if I had my sort of my own locked-in crowd of people who will follow me, and when I post something, they're going to be more interested in what I'm going to talk about or going to be doing versus following a promotions website. I mean, even something that has the power of CZW behind it, that has a like page of 8,000, 9,000 people following it right now. Me, as Philip Stamper, my 2,500 people on my Facebook, I know not all of them are following CZW. So here, let me put out my information and say, be at CZW this weekend on Saturday, September 13th. And hopefully, that'll help get, even if I brought in 2 extra people, that's somebody's payday.
Yeah.
And in some cases, okay, a few more people than just 2. But,
yeah.
But you get my point. Like, the littlest bit helps. And again, sometimes people just get stuck in that mode of they don't really think about it. They don't take that step back and go, okay, I've been really busy, but how can I help myself? And if wrestling is a business, and if you look at it as a business, what are you going to do to make your business survive? Are you just going to I'm going to put up a ring and let the people come? I mean, it's the Field of Dreams concept of promoting, which we've all seen, and never works.
Yeah, I've been on shows where I think there were 3 paying customers,
mm-hmm.
and like the other 30 were friends and family that got it for free. Like, wait a minute. If that bothers me, because it's like, wait a minute, more than like 3/4, almost all your crowd is free. You might as well just throw on a free show out in a baseball field and just let it go.
Right.
And I think that's mainly because a lot of the talent, and I say talent kind of loosely in some areas, they have the superstar mentality. I'm the big guy. I don't have to do this. I've paid my dues. Well, guess what? If you want people to see you, you need to tell them where you are going to be.
Right. And I think about it from this perspective, too. Even if you look at something like a WWE, and even if you look in the old days of old school wrestling with territory, they had pitchmen. Yes, they had some guys who were just press agents who were going out and they were doing the flyering of the town or they were working with local media. But then they would also they would send out some of the wrestling talent in advance. And WWE does this still currently. So people who are like, oh, well, I've paid my dues already, I don't need to message the show up about, I don't need to simply put out a tweet about the event I'm going to be on this Saturday because the promoter should be taking care of it. When you even look at something like a powerhouse of the WWE, they're sending their guys out in advance of the event to do promoting. And think of it from that concept. If those people who are on that national stage are still doing what you think is just paying your dues, then you've already lost. Like, it needs to be a collaborative effort. Yes, the promoter should take the brunt of it. Yes, the promoter should help coordinate it, or have a good core of people who can coordinate it. But if you just are a talent going, I don't understand why there's only 2 people here, if you couldn't bring one of those 2 people, at least, then you shouldn't be on that event.
Exactly. Because I know with EWC Mid-Atlantic, and that was one of the other AIW affiliates, I petitioned and I championed, and I asked you numerous times about open dates, trying to get you to come down, if you remember.
Oh, yeah.
And it just never panned out. Like, the promoter, and I'm not going to mention his name because I don't want to put him on blast. The promoter was, I don't know if he was just afraid. I mean, myself and my wife, we were the ones doing all of the promotions for the company, posters, videos, promo videos. Your door's ajar, or you need to buckle your seatbelt, Phil. One of the 2.
Right. Well, And there is a huge amount of trust too when a promoter has somebody who's helping them to put out the word on their promotion. Put it this way, I won't say for who because I don't want to make anybody feel like, oh, what do you mean I was that person? I've worked with some companies that have had street teams and that were made up of volunteers, and sometimes it's great. Sometimes you have great intentions with trying to pull together a street team, but you have to pause and think for a moment. Are these the people I really want representing me in town as they're trying to hang up flyers? Are these the people I want talking to managers at a restaurant or even to post something up at a gas station, like talking for me, especially if I'm going to try to turn around and talk to those businesses about later being an advertiser? So sometimes you do have to process it a little bit more. But there's a huge amount of trust. I mean, running press for PWU when it operated, running press now for Combat Zone Wrestling, and I feel bad when I say run press because at the same time there's a core of people. We have a team that helps it. I may be the connection link between the promoter DJ Hyde and the rest of the team, but that's just it. It's a team effort. So we have somebody who runs the website. We have somebody that coordinates and pinpoints some of the social media. We have somebody who's working with mainstream press. We have somebody who's posting online. But any one of us could do any of those things, but because we have a good team, not one person is burning them stuff out. Because when I first started with CZW, I wanted to kill people. I wanted to rake faces off because I was so frustrated that so little. I mean, Combat Zone Wrestling, when I first started there 3 years ago, I'll be honest, not that I didn't care about CZW, but I didn't have a vested interest in CZW. And so once I came on board and saw what they had been doing, and the person who was before me that was trying to get the word out about CZW, and honestly wasn't, I got very frustrated. I'm like, this is a promotion that runs events internationally, that has multiple events in the course of a month, and you're sending out news to 5 websites. You're not posting on anything. You don't have a good social media presence. And in this day and age, you need a good social media presence.
Yeah, nowadays you do.
Right. And it frustrated me a little bit. And now to see, as I look 3 years later, to see, oh, we didn't even have a CZW like page, and now we have 9,000 people on it. We had a friend page with 1,000 people. Well, now that's maxed out, and we have a waiting list of almost 3,000 additional people who want to be the CZW friend on Facebook. CZW itself has expanded. It's purchased WSU, the Women Superstars Uncensored, or as a majority stakeholder, I should say. So they haven't purchased it outright. Majority stakeholder. Let me get it correct.
I don't want any legal actions being taken on this.
Right. And this Saturday, September 13th, WSU and CZW are running a doubleheader. So you have WSU at 4 and CZW at 7:30. All of which you can watch, even online on iPay-per-view at streamczw.com. And that's why we're so intentional about even putting in, like, the title of our Facebook event page. We have that streamczw.com link right there. Because we would always do an event page, and we would get this stream of responses of, oh, I can't come. Oh, I live in Germany. Oh, I can't come. I'm in Illinois. It's like, well, you can still watch.
Yeah.
It's available online. And that has helped, and to see that we're basically in the moment doubling our crowd size. Normally, whatever crowd size you see at CZW at our venue, that's double that who was watching it online in the moment.
Yeah, I mean, and I've seen a lot of companies try to do these iPay-per-views, and I've seen some of them fail epically.
Mm-hmm.
But you guys seem to have your shit together when it comes to that. Now, I have seen a couple of them. I'm not going to mention TOD. Where the audio got lost.
Yeah.
On the delayed stream, which I was planning. I think I remember I was telling you I was planning on making the drive from Bristol, Tennessee, up to the Ultraviolet Underground, which was like almost 9.5 hours one way just to come and see this, and like. The vehicle felt like we were trying to rent a car because neither one of ours would make it.
Right.
And it just, everything fell through at the last second. So it's like, okay, I'm going to get it, when it comes live stream. And they go, well, we lost the audio. I'm like, oh, shit.
we still don't understand what happened. All right, I will say the one good thing about CZW's iPay-per-view streams is typically it's amazing. As long as we have internet, it works like that. And actually, that's why we never say we do. Tournament of Death is never a live iPay-per-view because the internet signal is so weak physically where we are at, so we can't broadcast it live. So we do a delayed iPay-per-view. Listening to the live in-the-moment recording, you can hear the audio. Putting it together, right, you can. Putting it together in the video on your computer, you can hear the audio. Somehow, for whatever reason, whatever converted it to push it out on demand, lost all the audio. And no matter what format, no matter what we tried to do, if we tried to recut it, it just kept doing this weird warbly thing. No clue how it happened at all. It was just one of those freak technology things. So they had to recut the audio like later that next week. So if you go watch it now, you can now finally actually hear the real or actual commentary from the event. It's weird. It is just so weird.
Yeah, I think that actually happened to us with D2 Entertainment when we were running on Daily Motion. We were doing the TV programming, and I would send it to the TV station. It would run fine. Same exact file. I'd upload it. I'm like, oh, what the heck? And I was getting reamed from. I didn't do anything. So I understand, what happens when sometimes you have a conversion, or when it converts, it doesn't cooperate.
Right.
Now, since you've been with CZW, they've always done TOD and when we say TOD fans, we're talking about Tournament of Death. This is literally, it was done, the original Tournament of Death was done they wouldn't even do it inside of a building. The building wouldn't even let them do it, so they had to do it in the parking lot. Then it ended up moving to the Ultraviolet Underground, where it is today.
Right. 137 Ebenezer Road. Townsend, Delaware.
Yeah.
I don't know why I have this weird thing with addresses. I have to know them.
Is that like the Howie Mandel thing? He's always got to wash his hands.
Maybe that's my thing. If everybody wants to chant at me Howie, then fine, chant Howie, because then maybe remembering numbers and street addresses are my weird thing.
There you go. Since you've been with the company, they've always been there. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Do you know? Are you privy to the information on why they moved to that location?
I don't know necessarily what finally made them go, oh, let's go here. But honestly, and it's no secret, DJ's family owns the property that we have Tournament of Death on. So there is definitely a financial incentive to have it at a place you already own.
Yeah, you don't have to pay rent.
Right. Well, again, it's his family's property. He doesn't live there. It's his family's property.
Oh, okay.
Right.
I know DJ's family's probably real cool with it. So yeah, go ahead, go for it.
Right. What's interesting is now, even though I've been with CZW actually a little over 3 years now, I've only been to 2 Tournaments of Death ever. And just things always worked out that I wasn't available or just didn't go. And I'll be the first one to say deathmatch wrestling is not my favorite style of wrestling, but I have gone the last 2 years, and it's so interesting and weird to go step on that ground and look like, oh look, there are already thumbtacks and glass and things on the ground here.
And we haven't even started yet.
Right.
Now, I saw a lot of your tweets from this past TOD up literally on a scaffold.
Yes.
That was probably the safest place to be.
Yes and no. So from a viewing perspective, it was great. I got a couple decent pictures of the event. I wish I could have figured out my phone at the time was dying a very quick death, and so I couldn't do the panorama feature. So a lot of my pictures that you see are half of the crowd. But the one time it got a little okay, maybe I shouldn't have made this decision to be up here. I can't remember who Masada was wrestling, but it was Masada and somebody else, and they fall out of the ring and then they start charging through the crowd, and they start making their way towards the scaffold. And I'm like, oh, crap, maybe sitting up here
was not the best idea.
Right. And for those people who know me, like, I don't imbibe much alcohol. I do on occasion. If I do, I normally have like a drink and a sitting, and I'm done. I had a bottle of lemon Bacardi.
Oh God.
So, and not many people know that, especially from the photos. So I'm going to put it out there because I will say also, like, I was still with it enough. I was not like engorged on it, but I would say, and I was sharing it. But it was definitely like, okay, I have to climb down off this scaffold to get out of the way of Masada in the middle of Tournament of Death. What was I thinking?
You wasn't. You was not sharing that with Denver, Colorado, was you?
He might have had a drop.
A drop, my ass.
Well, he might have only had a drop from me. That's not to say he enjoyed some other drop.
Okay. Because anytime I've heard him on a TOD, about halfway through the event, he's about gone. And I don't know Denver. I don't know Denver from the man on the moon. He's probably one of the nicest guys for all I know, but every time, the 2 times I've heard him on TOD, it's hilarious.
Yeah. The biggest secret in wrestling is Denver has a problem. I'm kidding. Seriously kidding. Denver, you need help. No, kidding.
Maybe we can get him in on the next time, and we'll all have an intervention for him on, live air.
There you go. Denver, we are here for you.
Yeah.
Man, you're not alone. We will face this demon together, this demon in a bottle, and we will make it right. We will make you right. We'll make you better. You will be stronger for this experience.
You'll be a man and the state again.
Yes.
And I'm thinking it was one of the BJW guys that Masada was wrestling in that event. Because I kind of vaguely remember off the top. I don't remember off the top of my head, but
in my brain, I was thinking it was during his match with Jun Kasai, but I can't remember. I don't want to quote that, but I think it might have actually been during that match.
I believe. Yeah,
so again, if it was, imagine Masada and Jun Kasai coming at you in the middle of Tournament of Death. It's like,
people, and for those that have never seen Masada wrestle Jun Kasai, if you don't like blood, one, you shouldn't be at a TOD event to begin with. But if
right.
Yeah, if you're squeamish, this is not the event for you.
I will say it is fun sometimes to see the guys who want to come see Tournament of Death who bring their very unknowing female partners to a wrestling event that happens to feature blood. And it is like, let me sit back and watch the show because this is going to be an amazing thing to watch. The crowd. Forget the wrestling, which will be awesome. I just want to watch the reaction.
Exactly. Speaking of Jun Kasai and Masada, were you at WrestleCon? The first WrestleCon? Were you?
Yes, I was there and saw it when it happened.
Which one are we talking about? The Augusta Plate?
Yes.
Yeah, I wasn't even talking about that. I was actually talking just about the WrestleCon experience itself. I wish, a lot of myself, my wife, we all wanted to be there just because that was, 3 days?
It was basically a 3-day, think of like when everybody talks about Comic-Con, this was a wrestling convention. So 3 days of wrestling and wrestling memorabilia and signatures. It was very much the wrestling version of a Comic-Con, hence WrestleCon. It was a big to-do. It was a big experience. This last year, it was modified some when everything was way down south.
I heard that a lot of it had to do with the weather down there. The weather did not cooperate with them. Do you know anything about that?
I never actually heard that much about it. But I think they had a lot of competition. Because if you look at what WWE has done as a practice now, when they have this coming WrestleMania, they've basically block booked the town because they don't want WrestleCon to compete with what they're offering. Because we're seeing a significant hit in their profits for what is it called, WrestleMania Fan Access.
Yeah.
So you can't really find many places that you could run something of that size. WWE has already purchased that space because they want the attention to be on them, and in some cases, I think rightfully so. It's WWE WrestleMania. Yes, everybody in wrestling celebrates that weekend. At the same time, like, it's their show. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
I definitely get where it comes from.
I mean, it's kind of like everyone, the football has Super Bowl, baseball has the World Series, hockey, NHL, soccer, World Cup. Pro wrestling had WrestleMania. I can say Starrcade as well, but WrestleMania kind of made it a event. Where Starrcade was just, one of the biggest shows you wanted to be at back then. WrestleMania turned into literally, it was like a week long at one point.
Right.
And I think Comic-Con, WrestleCon, one of the greatest ideas, concepts. I don't know who came up with it, but I want to pat them on the back. You had, I'm just trying to think of this last one. You had CZW was represented. You had Evolve Wrestling. Let's see, Chikara was there. Dragon Gate USA was there. And I'm trying to think of who else. There was a couple others, wasn't there? Or was it just 4 companies?
Well, so this past year, things changed. So 2 years ago, yes, Dragon Gate had a Dragon Gate event. CZW had a CZW event. Chikara had a Chikara event. Kaiju Big Battle had a Kaiju Big Battle event. $5 wrestling, a $5 wrestling event. This year they modified it. It was a bit different. So they basically had a mega wrestling event. So it was sort of representation from a whole bunch of different companies. Combat Zone Wrestling and Dragon Gate, and I think Ring of Honor had a match, and Wildcat that is out of Louisiana had a match or a couple matches down there because guess what? It was in their town, so they're gonna take the stage. But I think $5 Wrestling had their live event.
Yeah, I know Colt was down there doing it. I remember he was talking about doing his live event down there with his wrestling.
$5 Wrestling, not a great subject to bring up when you wrestle down in North Carolina. I have found that out.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I found that out at my first AWF event.
And why is that, Phil? Tell us. Who got pissed off?
I don't want to say who, but I will say, and it wasn't just one person. There were several people who took offense. They felt like it was a pot shot at anybody who wrestles out of North Carolina that is the typical guy out of North Carolina, instead of the fact that, oh, look at all these events that are actually running. Look at this promotion that's really been wrestling for 25 years. You've just made this whole big joke out of people who come from North Carolina. And I'm like, I still wouldn't take it that seriously. Like, it is what it is. Like, I don't think people go turn $5 wrestling and go, look at these jokes from North Carolina. I don't think that's, they might go look at those jokes, but I don't think they go look at those jokes from North Carolina.
Yeah, it's the lighter side of wrestling.
Right.
They're the Abbott and Costello, but just not as funny. It's funny to watch. Oh, man, so much. Okay, I do have one thing. I know where you have done a lot of the stage performances. Has with the acting that you've done there, has that helped transgress into the, I'm kind of trying not to break, down a wall here. Does it translate when you're in the ring, the character, do you see what I'm asking here?
I think so. I would say they feed off each other. In the same way that being on a wrestling event, you get that energy from a live crowd. It very much is the same when you're on a stage. In film, it's different. You have to more rely on those just more guttural instincts that you have. I just lost my train of thought because somebody tried to message me at the same time. But that's just like, you have to go back to a place of like, okay, I need to pull out this emotion. So I recently worked on a film called 25 Years. It's weird because the film industry is, a lot of people think like, oh, people just take a camera and they film this thing and it takes like 2 months and you're done. I worked on a film about a year ago, and we're just about to do some reshoots on the film.
Oh, wow.
And there was a moment where there's a guy who plays my dad in the film, and I get mad at him. And I had to go, for a second there, I'm like, where am I going to pull this out of? Because I liked the guy. And I was like, wrestling. Just think about wrestling. Think about somebody that you can't stand to be in the ring with, that you just want to punch their face in and go to that place. And it kind of worked. At the same time, I think it makes me... All right, I'm going to use this example. So the very first AIWF Crazy 8 tournament, I cut promos all the time, and that's one of my ways that I think I help to try to promote something. Like, it gives that promotion something that they can grab and put out themselves as well. One of the people in the tournament came up before the event started, said hi to me. They walk away, and I'm in the ring working out. Comes back to me, he's like, can I talk to you for a second? And I've never met this guy before. I was like, sure, what's going on? He goes, I needed to tell you that I came here today knowing I was going to hate you. I was like, what? Again, never met this guy, never knew this guy. But
do I know who you're talking about?
I don't know, you probably do. But
was this the event that I was on?
Yeah. It was somebody from Georgia.
Oh, hell.
Never mind. Don't go there. But Huh?
You'll just give me his name later when we get off the air, because I'm curious on who this is now, because I think I know who you're talking about.
Sure, I'll give you his name later, Jason Collins. So, Jesus was like, I thought you were that dude, and we're only that dude. And I'm like, I'm that dude to some people, but I don't need to be that dude all the time. Like, that's not just me. It's a facet of me. It's me amped up. If you ever hear some of the, you hear Chris Jericho talk about, like, his persona that he utilizes. He's like, the best gimmicks are the ones that are yourself, but just a little tweaked up. And then I always hear the argument, the second anybody ever says that, what about The Undertaker? Is he really dead and have paranormal powers? No, but...
Scalp off, beat him with it. No!
Great. But if he came out and was like, wasn't being assertive and trying to be The Undertaker, like, that wouldn't work. So there is a way you carry yourself. There is a way you hold yourself. There is a way you try to portray yourself to be, to emphasize yourself a little bit better. And sometimes, is it just an intimidation game? Is it just something to do to try to get behind somebody else's brain, whether it's the guy you're in the ring with, the promoter that you're trying to get more money out of, or the crowd? It is your persona that you want to put out there to make yourself be better.
And marketable at the same time.
Right. I mean, if you think about it this way, Jack Nicholson, when you watch a movie with Jack Nicholson, it's a movie with Jack Nicholson. I'm not saying he's one-dimensional. You've certainly seen, swings in what he's been able to portray, but not tremendously different swings. Like, you're getting Jack Nicholson. You're getting Bruce Willis. You're getting that guy that you have come to know. Whereas, there's other actors, there's wrestlers that you see, and it's like, wow, they give me this range of feelings and emotions. I don't think either one is any worse or any better. I think they both bring something to the table, but it is about the presence that you have, whether you're on film, whether you're on stage, whether you're in the wrestling ring, whether you work in an office building and need to know how to politic to make sure that you get your stuff over with your boss. It is about how you portray yourself.
Exactly. And I think that's what a lot of the greenhorns are missing. They want to be serious wrestlers.
I see a lot of that, and I think you hit it on the head. I think it's a green mistake, and they'll learn. At the same time, I think you have a lot of people who are like, yeah, the crowd boos me, so I'm gonna get the "this is awesome" chant when I do something really cool. Or you get the I'm a good guy, but I want to be the badass. I want to be the next Stone Cold Steve Austin. And it's like, why? Because it would be different if nobody did it. But because everybody does it, doesn't make it special. It loses something.
You need to be creative. Be something that they Oh, I'm trying to remember who I saw post this. They said, oh, damn. I don't remember how it was worded. People that are trying to make it, the WWE TNA, be something they don't have. So he goes, well, I'll go out there and I can sell my rear end off. Well, they've already got that. They got Dolph Ziggler for that, You want to go out there and be one of the greatest wrestlers and grapplers. Well, guess what? They had Kurt Angle for that, Mat Technician, Benoit when he was alive. Be something they don't have.
Right.
And that's what I think is missing. That was actually going to be my next question: is what is missing in the wrestling business today, in your eyes, I think I just let me pull the soapbox out for you. I heard that.
Well, there's a couple different things. First, when it comes to WWE and TNA, they're not, well, TNA a little bit more so, but WWE definitely not. WWE is not wrestling on television. It's a television show. They're making an entertainment property first. They're delivering a television star like Who's the Boss did with Tony Danza and Alyssa Milano. Like, they're giving you somebody that you can connect to and identify. They're not building a wrestling product. Certainly, yes, wrestling is there. Like, please do not misunderstand me. There is a wrestling ring. Obviously, there is wrestling. But their focus is not the same as the independent event that's going to put on more of an athletic contest down the street.
Okay. I agree with that 100%.
But one of my biggest reasons for saying that is that you get guys who go, I watched WWE and I saw da-da-da-da-da. I want to do da-da-da-da-da. It's like, well, you need to know more. And this is why you need to know more. And because no matter what you think of Hulk Hogan or John Cena or anybody else who gets catcalled for quote-unquote the 5 moves of doom.
Oh, God. At
the same time, like, remember when John Cena first started and had matches with Kurt Angle and Jericho, people loved him because he was doing so much and had the look and had the build and had the ability to do all of these things. People were like, oh, well, they dumbed him down. No, they made him an identifiable television star.
Yeah, because when you see John Cena come flying off of that shoulder tackle, that's like the Bret Hart. What's next. It's something that the crowd has come to. We know what's getting ready. Oh, yes. That gets them hyped up, which is what you want.
But the other reason I say that is, I'm trying to word this well, and my brain is just losing the train of thought I was trying to go on. But like, I see those guys are like, I want to do this same kind of thing, and it's like, no, it's different. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. So I have seen times when you watch, and it's like, uh-oh, something's going to go horribly wrong. They're trying something that maybe, you get fatigue in the ring, you slip, something stupid happens, and you will see those moments of where somebody protects somebody else, like from breaking their neck on something stupid. There was a clip that just started that I've seen in the last week several times reposted of Jericho's going for a lion salt, and he's wrestling Kurt Hennig from a WCW match, and Jericho's not getting the rotation, and it was going to land on the back of his head, and you saw perfect the way he put up his knees was to make sure that he wasn't going to die.
That's the thing. They're protecting each other. Sorry, go ahead.
But that's part of it, is the more experience you get, the more natural instinct you get, which is what you need to be trained on from a legitimate training, then you are able to succeed that much better. I personally, and I'm not saying you have to, and certainly I think wrestling has a diverse enough talent pool, but I really enjoy being in the ring with people who have a legitimate amateur wrestler, who come from amateur wrestling, who come from judo, who come from jiu-jitsu, because they understand a little differently how the body works already before they even step day one in the ring. So then add on to it a legitimate quality wrestling training, and it's like, wow, watch it. Just look at them go. Look at how much more they're able to excel. That's not to say that anybody who doesn't have that experience going into it can't.
But at the same time, again, I just think it gives them that much ease of an advantage. I think
because they understand the body mechanics more.
Yes, absolutely. I think there's people who don't know this, but I used to compete actively in judo and Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And I was in college, I was late to class, and there was sort of a cliff, not like a sheer cliff, but like a good steep, 80-degree angle or something like that. And I fell. But what clicked in instinctively was a forward break fall in judo, or a roll fall. So a shoulder roll, basically. But it was just instinctual. Like, I didn't even recognize, my brain didn't go, okay, I am falling, let me throw my shoulder this way. I just did it. And it was just so instinctual. And I think that's the thing that, there is some of that missing, just some of that basic level instinct and knowledge. I think there are too many people, for whatever reason, who are out there who aren't able to provide good enough training. At the same time, I think there are people who are really good who shouldn't be in a position to be training. It's just like, not everybody can be a great teacher. And that's not a slight on the person, that's just not where their skill set is. That is definitely present. Again, we talked about advertisement. And I'll be honest, like a CZW, and this is not me trying to call them out, but I'm going to call them out. So if anybody's listening, I think CZW, despite all of its fame, despite all of its presence, and despite the fact that I'm really coordinating the web presence for CZW, I think we have shit advertisement. I think we do such a poor job of putting our name out there. And not for any fault of trying in sometimes, but at the same time, we don't have a great street team. We don't really market well in the town. And DJ and I have had long conversations, and I feel like sometimes I've had to help define a little bit more about, well, this is what advertising means. This is what happens when you advertise. I feel like I've had a very bare level conversation. And for promoters who are out there, at Nate's side, I put together a list of independent promotions that are having events on the upcoming week. It's something I just like to do. I like to know what's going on in the world of wrestling. I like to see who all is out there, kind of see who has some buzz around them. And I'm putting that list together. Well, I'll go through it once a week, once every other week, just to see what all is coming up. And it's like, okay, this event doesn't have anything listed, Okay, that's fine. I go back 2 weeks later, and then it's like, oh, they never advertised their event, but here's pictures from their event last night. Oh, look, they had the same 7 people in the crowd.
And they wonder why they can't get to the crowd.
Right. It's like, even something as simple as your Facebook page, you don't advertise. That's the key thing, is you really need, and again, promoters and the boys themselves and the girls themselves are just as guilty for all of this. Put yourself out there. This is a business. This is your business. You're trying to get a payday. The promoter's trying to get a payday. Then you trying to get a payday. Everybody should be working together to promote what is happening.
Even if it's just something as simple as, when I refer back to when we did EWC in Atlantic stuff, and we had a poster. We would put that poster, we would share it once a day, at least.
Yeah.
That's simple.
If you have a website for your promotion, and on the front page of the website, I can't figure out when your next event is, you've already lost. In my I don't want to say where, but I will just say in my educational life, in my higher education, I have 3 college degrees, and the business I work for now relies on admission of students. So the biggest thing on that front page is apply now, because that is where our biggest revenue stream comes from. For me, a wrestling event, that should be the most prominent thing on your page. When is your next event? How do you buy that ticket? Right. But if you don't have any of that, I know people are trying to build their storylines, and they think, that having 30 people in their crowd is fine. And if that's the case, great. but you're not going to be more than that. You're not going to be looked at more than that if you are just stuck at that level. I think that is a huge challenge. I do think wrestling, for a variety of reasons, is sometimes its own worst enemy. Again, and when I'm saying this, I'm not trying to toot my own horn when I said that I have 3 college degrees, but I know I have a little bit more than average intelligence, as I stumble over the word intelligence as I tried to say it.
We'll edit that out, don't worry.
There you go. Right, everything, we can fix it all in post.
No,
but you know, some of the boys in the back are not as intelligent, and I'm not saying about book smarts. I'm just saying like simple causality. Like, I'm going to do a bad thing, it might mean something bad for the promotion. The promoters told me not to go through the crowd and have a fight outside of the ring. Oh, well, I'm going to go ahead and go fight outside the ring. Oh, oops, I bumped into a 15-year-old girl and broke her hand. Like, it's those kinds of stupid things that can sometimes ruin people. Very unintentional. You know, nobody went out there with the intention of doing anything like that, but, you know, things like that happen. Oh my God, I almost went to a really bad place, and I really don't want to go where I was just thinking of. You know, some promoters do things that get national attention for the bad things that they do. That's all I'll say. And it doesn't help. It just doesn't help. When promotions destroy their venue, well, they're not going to, that venue, not only are they not going to allow that promotion back, they're probably going to say no to anybody else who wants to run a wrestling event with them.
That's actually happened down here. There was a company at one time, and I'm not going to mention them. They were notorious for busting up buildings, which is now why most of them require $1 million liability insurance policies, and it's just ridiculous.
Right. I mean, and that's... Oh, go ahead.
I was saying about the promotion thing, you know, people not... Is that, are you referring to the, what was it, the Southern violence that happened that when CZW came down in front of like 12 people? And you know what show I'm talking about.
I was not with CCW at that time, but I know what show you're talking about. But actually, I don't know if something bad happened there. I don't know what happened.
I'd heard promotion. There was like there had to be to see the building and how many people were there.
Mm-hmm.
It literally looked like CZW just showed up and said, "Hey, we're here."
Right.
Like, I think it was a bought show. Somebody brought them down in to come to this building, and right. They wanted them to come down and make them money. Well, guess what? You didn't promote, buddy.
Right.
You know, and
right. Like for me, all right, CZW and WSU have an event this Saturday the 13th, and in Voorhees, New Jersey, at the Flyer Skate Zone. Saturday, September 20th, AIWF Mid-Atlantic at the National Guard Armory in Mount Airy, North Carolina. On Saturday, September 27th, CZW goes to Dayton at 1106 East 3rd Street at the Rockstar Pro Wrestling Arena. One of those big reasons I commit that to my brain and where everybody is when they are running is so just that. You can talk up when the event is. If you don't give people the when and the where, like, they're not going to come. They have to know at least that basic level to even come and participate and be a part of that crowd in that event. I'm going to call him out because DJ's an idiot sometimes. I mean, DJ is the only guy I know who can walk into a room and get a concussion. DJ just went out to Rockstar. He just was in Dayton, Ohio. He is the Rockstar Pro Wrestling Heavyweight Champion and didn't bring with him one damn flyer for CZW on the 27th. And then we'll yell about why CZW won't get more than 225 people in a building. And side note, and this is not anything against Rockstar, because I love Rockstar Pro. Rockstar Pro is the first wrestling event I took a family member to. Because I think they have a great quality of what they do. They run an every week Wednesday event. at 1106 East 3rd Street in Dayton, Ohio. I love Rockstar. I love a lot of their guys. They don't have a huge audience. They may be getting 150 people every week, which is still solid for an every week event.
Yeah, that's pretty solid for an every week event.
Right. And CZW coming in there and getting 225, okay, well, that's better than the 150. At the same time, it's CZW. It should be doing better. There should be more advertisement. And without that advertisement, again, that simple awareness of where and when, without that, you're not going to get more than what you have in the past. Are we still going to have people? Are we still probably going to have 225 people in that crowd at Dayton? Yes. But probably not much more. And I fully look at DJ and go, dude, it's your fault. Don't look at anybody else. And I heard that, well, I tried to go to Kinko's, but they couldn't understand how to work my flash drive. It's like, listen, Eeyore, you need to find the way to do it. Don't tell me for 1 second that you don't have my phone number, because because we talk every single day about how to promote CZW. I will email the Kinkos and send them the file, because I have a copy of every flyer that we have upcoming for these kind of reasons. So don't say to me, oh, well, they couldn't work with flash drive. There wasn't anything else I could do. And, yeah, I was out there for 4 days. And I'm not, you know what? I am calling out DJ. I was trying to be like, I'm not trying to call out DJ. I am calling out DJ. Like, without awareness. All right, imagine Avengers. Great movie. I mean, like, everybody I know saw Avengers, loved Avengers for the most part. If they never put up one commercial, one trailer, one promo, nobody talked about it, and then you just drove by the theater one day and saw Avengers, people would come in and go, okay, what's this Avengers all about?
Yeah.
But without other advertisement, they wouldn't have gotten their $2 billion in box office proceeds, or profits, excuse me. And that's just it. It's you have to have an awareness at the core of it. You have to know what is happening, and again, the promoter and the boys in the event take part of that responsibility. Let's see, how else can we fix wrestling? What else is wrong with the quality of wrestling? And this isn't everywhere, but the towns that have 5 wrestling promotions in them, that's stop. That just no 5 of you can sustain that.
5 companies in a 40-mile radius. That is what I live in. Where I live, and you kind of know the area that I live in, correct?
Mm-hmm. You have Smoky Mountain, you have EWC, you have NWA Rocky Top, is that right?
NWA Rocky Top is a hit-and-miss promotion. They do a spot show here and there. You've got 3. You've got Reborn Wrestling. You've got Pro Wrestling South, who just had a show. Stars of Wrestling. Every once in a while, Southern States Wrestling will pop up. AWT kind of left the area and went to North Carolina up the road, but they're still within the 50-mile radius. So that's 9 promotions in about a 70-mile radius.
Right, and that kills me. And yes, I get the fact that in some aspects it's an attempt at taking over the business for yourself to try to get some gain. I'm dealing with this now in Maryland, where a promotion that I helped to put, I won't say I helped to put together the promotion, I helped as they started to rev them up, that will draw, for every event they've had, they've always gotten 450 people. For an event that doesn't really utilize, doesn't utilize any nationally known names. Like, Delirious has been on it, Greg Excellent has been on it, Rhett Titus has been on it. But at the same time, like, they're not, unless you watch Ring of Honor, they're not, per se, internationally known names in the respect of, like, the common person off the street would know Delirious as they would know a Hulk Hogan, like that kind of situation. Yeah. Drawing 450 people.
That's saying something, though. Just think if they actually used...
Right. But what I'm trying to get to is then there's 2 other promotions in the area. One is 2 hours away to the north. Another one is 2 hours away to the south. Both of them have gone, oh, look at them. They're not really utilizing anybody. Well, let's try to run there, and we'll do the same thing they're doing. So one promotion has already ran 2 events, 3 events, and they've drawn crowds everywhere between 30 and 80 because they believe in that we will build it and they will come mentality. Why can they do it and we can't? The other company, which hasn't come down here yet, so I'm waiting to see what they do when they come down this way. I will say an event that they had 30 minutes up the street only drew 100 people. And I shouldn't say only, because again, for some promotion, that's okay. But they had name talent. They had like Matt Hardy and Booker T. And I'm not trying to bash them at all, but I think it went back to the advertising. How are they getting the word of mouth out? How are they really trying to work with a crowd base to get them in? So the one promotion I work with that is getting the 450 people, like they're a little worried, like look at all these other people who are coming in. They're going to burn out this town. And I'm like, no, look at these other people. The other promotion that's only drawing 30 to 80, well, there might be some overlap from your crowd, but you have 370 other people who are coming to your event that don't go to their event.
And also, it's one of those things, too, these guys know the product that they're going to see. They may go to this event once, maybe twice. Okay, we're not satisfied. We're going to, and I have noticed that in this area, each one of these towns, each one of these companies has a group that follows them. They don't have any more, don't have any less. It's just because they are loyal to that specific company for one reason or another. And I still cannot, I would try when we did the promotions for EWC, getting these, and I would bring flyers to other shows that we were at in the area. Hey, man, come check us out next week. They're not running. I'm going to promote our show. They would not show up because they were loyal to that company for one reason or another. It's strange. You know what I mean?
Right. And I know that, again, I know it's not everywhere. I know there's some companies that, they offer something different, and, people will come to, some people will go to all of them, some people will pick and choose, and I get that too. And certainly, in larger urban areas, I get that too. But a lot of it comes down to that advertisement and awareness. And by the way, if you go to CZW's web YouTube account at YouTube/CZW News, you'll see the latest In the Zone interview with Matt Tremont. And in that interview, we talk a lot about advertisement as well, and just how frustrating it is to be like, guys, just put your name out there, just say something about it, or people won't come. So let's see. I've horribly discredited people who don't have quality training. I've horribly discredited people who don't advertise well. I've horribly discredited people who.
My intention was not to do that to anything. Well, leave it to me. I guess I rub off on people. I bring out the worst of the best, depending on how you look at it.
There you go. So how else can we fix wrestling? What else can we do to fix? I don't care if somebody has wrestling shoes on or kick pads or boots. Like, honestly, I'm not there anymore. And for somebody who had major knee surgery, there's times where I'm like, you know what? Today I'm wearing the wrestling shoes because I think I need a little bit more balance. So I'm personally not going to call out anybody who says something like, oh, this promoter was a jerk to me. I'm going to drag him outside to the back and try to threaten to beat his ass like you would in the old day. And I'm like, well, if this was the old day, you would be wearing wrestling shoes and kick pads. That's a whole other conversation.
Yeah. I'll tell you this, my take on it is I've worn both boots and I've worn wrestling shoes and kick pads. I personally prefer wrestling shoes and kick pads because I am fat and I have fat feet. Boots do not fit me properly. And you know exactly what I'm talking about on that.
Hey, watch it.
No. It was nothing wrong with what you sent me. It was the way that they were made. They were too freaking tiny for my foot. Mm-hmm. Length fit fine. The width was not. Boots, they're very hard on the feet. Wrestling shoes, I can feel every step that I'm in. I can feel every hole in a ring that I'm in. That's just me personally. But as we get ready to wrap up, Phil, I know we've discredited just about crap promoters, everything else about training. Let's get on some good stuff. How can people find you on the social media with Twitter, Facebook, YouTube? How can people find you?
On YouTube, on Twitter, and on Instagram at PS Phenom. That's PSPHENOM. Or you can go to my Facebook page, which is P. Stamper. And it's both for Phil Stamper and Nate Stein. So whether you like one of them and hate the other one, guess what? They're both there.
Well,
but you can trust in Phil or have faith in Nate. You know, pick your choice. Pick your choice.
Either one. I trust in Phil, always have, always will. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you, Phil Stamper. I want to thank you, seriously, being on the show tonight. I had a blast. I hope you had a great time. I mean, it's been real.
I appreciate it.
Hey, we found out what your deal was. Fans, tune in next time to another episode of What's Your Deal with Chris Dice. Find me on YouTube at youtube.com/D2Entertainment. You can find me on Twitter at IStill1. Find me on Facebook at Chris and Heather Dice. That's our like page. Like us, you'll find this and a bunch of other stuff. Little tidbits. Like us on there because we're going to throw some tidbits of some of the older productions, the matches, and a few surprises here and there. Fans, till next time, I'm Chris Dice. For Phil Stamper, I want to say thank you for listening. We look forward to hearing you again next time.